The Iroko trees at the entrance had been standing since before anyone in Umueze was born. They had watched everything this village had ever done. They had kept everything this village had ever buried. When Dike drove through them, they did not move. They never moved. They only watched, the way they had always watched, the way they would watch long after everyone inside that village was gone. The village received him the way it receives anything that left and came back, with recognition and something unreadable underneath it. Children stopped to watch. Old men paused their conversations. Women carrying things on their heads turned to look. None of them waved. None of them smiled. They simply watched, the way Umueze had always watched, the way it had been watching for 19 years, waiting for exactly this. And then he saw her, standing at the edge of the road, completely still, a yellow wrapper catching the last of the afternoon light, bare feet on the red earth, large, luminous eyes fixed on his approaching car. He had never seen her before in his life, and yet something in him recognized her, something old, something he could not explain, something that felt like the end of a search he did not know he had been conducting.
Through the dusty windshield, her eyes were fixed on him. Not on the car. On him. Specifically. The way you look at someone you have been expecting. Not hoping for. Expecting.
His uncle called him inside. He turned away for one moment. One moment. When he looked back, the road was empty. Just the dust. Just the light. Just the particular emptiness of a space that was recently occupied by something that chose to leave before it could be questioned. He stood at the gate for a long time, his hand on the post, something in his chest that had no name yet. Inside the compound, his uncle was warm and generous and exactly as he had always been.
My son, you came.
Of course I came, Uncle. He was my father.
You look like him, more now than before.
Something crossed his uncle's face when he said it. Fast. Gone before it could be read. Dike filed it away, the way you file something when you do not yet know what folder it belongs to. Dike filed it away. That night he could not sleep. The room was the same as it had always been. The same ceiling, the same crack above the window shaped like a river, the same silence. Except the silence was not the same. The silence in Umueze at midnight has a texture to it, like something breathing, like something waiting for everyone to fall asleep before it begins. At exactly midnight, he woke. Not gradually, completely. Suddenly. The way you wake when something has pulled you from sleep rather than letting you rise from it naturally. He lay completely still, listening. The sound was outside his window. Low, almost musical, almost a voice. He went to the window, looked out at the compound below, the mango tree, the red earth, the moonlight. Nothing. He was about to turn away. Then he saw it, at the far edge of the compound, where the wall meets the deepest shadow, a figure in white, standing completely still, facing the house, her white wrapper catching the moonlight and throwing it back slightly brighter than physics should allow. His heart stopped, started again, the kind of starting again that changes the rhythm permanently. Then she raised her hand, not threatening, beckoning. Come. He took one step forward.
Dike, do not go out there.
Ngozi, what?
Come inside. Come inside right now.
The next afternoon, he walked through the village. He told himself it was to greet people, to pay respects, to remember the place. He knew where his feet were taking him. The path narrowed past the old water tank. The trees older here, closer together. The light reaching the ground differently, as if this part of the village existed slightly outside the rules that governed the rest of it. He found the house. Small, clean, a garden at the front with plants that had no common name. The woman in the yellow wrapper was sitting outside. She looked up when he approached. She did not look surprised. She looked like someone who had been expecting him for a very long time.
You came.
You were watching me yesterday.
I was.
Why?
Because I wanted to see if you looked like him.
Like who?
Your father.
Inside her house, the air was different from anywhere else in Umueze. Herbs hanging from the ceiling, books on every surface, the warm amber of a lamp that never seemed to go out. They sat across from each other and talked for 2 hours about everything, about nothing, the way you only talk with someone when being near them feels like the most natural thing you have done in years. He was at the door when he saw it, a photograph on the wall. Not large, not prominently placed, but there. A young man and a young woman standing in front of a house. This house. The young man's face was one he had seen in mirrors his whole life. His father, 30 years younger and more alive than he had ever seen him in 19 years of knowing him. His arm around a woman whose face
was the face of the woman he had just sat across from for 2 hours.
Who is that woman?
Come back in the morning, Dike.
He looked at the photograph, at his father's young face, at the woman beside him, at the house behind them, at the smile on his father's face that he had never once seen in 19 years of knowing him. He walked out into the dark, into the heavy Umueze air. Something had shifted in the village, in him, in the space between what he knew and what he was about to know. The second night was worse than the first. He slept for 1 hour. Then something pulled him from sleep completely. Suddenly, the sound again, closer, not outside the window, in the compound. She was not at the wall this time. She was in the center. Full moonlight, her white wrapper luminous, her face turned towards the house. An escalation, a closer approach, a willingness to be seen more clearly, as if 30 years of standing at the edge had run out of patience. Her hand rose. Come. He took one step, then another, then...
Dike, do not go out there.
Tell me what is happening in this village.
If your uncle finds out I talked to you, 30 years ago, your father loved a woman in this village. Before he married your mother.
Before everything.
Her name was Chidinma.
What happened to her?
Your uncle went to the elders. He told them about Chidinma. He told them she was the reason your father was refusing. He told them how to make the problem go.
Her hands were shaking around the glass of water he gave her. Not from cold, from the specific trembling of someone releasing something compressed. Something they have been holding for too long.
Amara.
Chidinma had a daughter before she disappeared. Hidden at the edge of the village, raised quietly, always watched. And Dike, the man in the photograph on her wall.
My father.
Yes.
The silence that followed was not empty. It was full, completely full, of 30 years, of a village secret, of a feeling between two people that arrived before either of them understood why, of the specific horror of recognition. He did not go to his uncle, not yet. He went to Amara. Midnight. The village asleep around him. The red earth silver in the moonlight. Every doorway dark. Every window shuttered. Except one. Her window. Warm amber. Waiting. She opened the door before he knocked.
You spoke to Ngozi.
How long have you known?
Since I was 12 years old.
The woman who raised me told me before she died. She said I deserved to know where I came from. Why didn't you leave, build a life away from this place?
Because my mother is here. I feel her here. I could not leave her.
I am so sorry, Amara.
You have nothing to be sorry for.
Tomorrow, at the burial, in front of everyone. It needs to be said out loud.
Your father knew the truth before he died. He found out 8 months ago.
He never told me.
He was ashamed. Not of me. Of his silence. Of how long he stayed silent. He wrote this for you. He sent it to me 3 weeks before he died. He asked me to give it to you when you came home.
She reaches under the table, brings out a letter, holds it out to him.
He opened it. His father's handwriting, careful and slightly shaky with age and illness. He read, his face doing everything at once, grief and anger, and love and loss moving across it like weather. When he finished, he folded it carefully, put it in his pocket, close to his chest, where it would stay.
He calls you his daughter.
One tear on Amara's face. One. She did not wipe it. She let it fall. She let it complete its journey.
He calls you his daughter. I am going to stand up in front of this entire village and tell them what their silence costs.
You do not have to do that.
But my father asked me to.
Outside, the village, the dark, and somewhere in it, the sound, low, almost musical, almost a voice, but different tonight. Not beckoning, not warning, something else entirely. Something that had not been in that sound before. Something that sounded like rest. The next day, the whole village came. Folding chairs and borrowed benches. Women in black wrappers. Men in dark agbadas. The pastor speaking. The choir singing. Uncle Emeka at the front. Composed. Respectful. The grieving brother. The dutiful uncle. The trusted man. And at the back, sitting alone, because she always sat alone. Amara, yellow wrapper, eyes forward, waiting.
My brother was a great man, a man who served this village, who sacrificed everything for the people he loved. We will not see his kind again in Umueze. Uncle.
The compound went quiet. Uncle Emeka turned, saw his nephew's face. Something moved through him. Something that knew. The compound was absolutely silent. Every face turned toward Dike. Everybody still. The specific silence of a large group of people who have stopped breathing simultaneously. He looked toward the back of the compound. Everyone turned. Amara stood, slowly, her yellow wrapper catching the afternoon light, her mother's face on her father's daughter, standing at the edge no longer, walking toward the center, the crowd parting on either side of her, faces turning as she passed, some with shock, some with recognition, some with the specific expression of people seeing something they have been pretending not to see for years. She reached the front, stood beside him. Two people connected by blood and loss and a village's 30-year silence, finally standing together in the space that silence tried to keep them from. Uncle Emeka sat down, slowly, like something had left his body, like the performance had taken everything with it when it went. At the edge of the compound, in the morning light, for the very first time, she was there, not in the midnight dark, in the morning gold, her white wrapper warm now, her face visible, turned toward the house where her daughter moved through her mourning, and the son of the man she loved considered staying. Her posture not the posture of waiting, the posture of someone who has arrived at the end of something and found it good. And in her expression, which the morning light finally made readable, not grief, not warning, not the endless patience of the unacknowledged, simply the expression of a mother who knows her child is going to be all right. 5 full seconds of silence, the infrasound drone fades completely. Then, the sound, one final time, low, almost musical, almost a voice, but softer now, softer than it has ever been, as if something that has been trying to be heard for 30 years has finally been heard. 1 year later, he drove in again, the same road, the same Iroko trees, but the light was different this time. Morning, and the village received him differently too, knowing now what he was to them. You stayed until the end. That means this story found the right person. If Umueze stayed with you tonight, if you are still thinking about Amara in her yellow wrapper, about a secret a village kept for 30 years,